to the Golden Polar Bears weekly cookery demonstration. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes actually to just check that Kerry's coming. She has diligently come to everything. She has cooked everything and she's cooked the whole course through, and amazing. So we're just going to wait for a minute or two for her, and I'll decide which pair of glasses to wear or not to wear. But today we are going to make these beautiful tarts. She normally tells me if she's here, but it's fine if she can't make it. I think we'll give her that. But yes, let me just check there are no comments. Actually, I can't. Let me see. Can't hear. That's good. So it's not great, but it's right. Is that any better? We had this problem last week and I didn't alter any settings. Can you hear me better now? It looks like it's really loud at my end. A bit quiet. Right, just one sec. Is that any better? I'm just going to keep talking and we'll just see. Is that any better at all? Because I have turned it up really quite significantly there. Oh, is it a bit loud? I don't know what to do. I've turned it up quite a lot, but it's a bit quiet. It's a bit loud. Yes. No, it's fine. Okay. I'm just going to just put that transmitter gain is 6. Right. Okay. Good. Nice to see you. Good. We're okay. We're good. So, yeah, I was just saying, Kerry, I was just waiting a little bit for you. We're going to make this tart today. It probably won't take the full half hour actually, which is good. Now, just jumping straight on in. Kerry, I've used your damsons for this, but I think that this applies to other soft fruits. Yes, other soft fruits apply. And your damsons are stunning, actually. And I tell you why, because they just behave so well. There's no manky, I'm going to run a little bit of tasteless juice out of there. You know, they're amazing. Wow for jam. Wow for jam. So they've been a pleasure to use. I haven't used them all up, but I've used a fair few. Let's just say I'm a little bit damsoned out. We're going to make individual tarts. You'll probably need 350 grams of pastry to make a 20 centimetre tart if you're going to make a whole thing. This has really been designed for these little individual ones. Here's one I made earlier. Let's just put that on there. So here's one I made earlier, and we're going to fill him. So you can see he's quite small really. He's got about 150 ml of capacity. Probably not quite that amount actually. You can see there's been a bit of shrinkage around the edge. Probably lost 2 mil there actually. And I chilled the pastry down, and then I rolled it, then I chilled it in the tart tin, and then I cooked it. And you know, at the end of the day, there's water in this that comes out. But he's okay. So he's going to have 2 little layers. There's going to be a creamy layer, and then there's going to be the glossy top. Now, I know that strictly speaking, I should be sieving and processing and smoothing and everything out of everything, you know. So it's like a shortbread pastry, this actually. And I gave my mum some of it. I said, "Oh, some shortbread here because I made some biscuits first." And and you could tell she was thinking, well, it's not shortbread. It's like, you know, I want this stuff to be whole and full, and it doesn't matter to me if it's not perfectly smooth. I like it smooth, but not like silly smooth. I keep finding myself say that. I like things done, but not like silly done. I think we've over-processed food. I don't know what it was. Was it the French? They came along and then everything became so pure and white and fine. And I think we've lost our way a little bit with it. But that's just I love that sort of stuff. But So this is brown pastry, and the damson puree, that should go through muslin, but it goes through a sieve because I don't want all the bits out actually. And again, this cream that's being made here, there's some milk here curdling. I've used oat milk and soy milk and all sorts, but I've settled on oat, but that's curdling there or in advance. And we're going to thicken that with, I mean, I'm using almonds, ground almonds actually, and I'm thickening with that, which I wanted to grind my own so they've got the brown bit on the outside, but I have gone with one that's been through a factory. I mean, increasingly I'm just getting quite anti stuff that's just been pushed through a factory process, if at all, but I am using a bought elderflower presse. So I'm just going to roll this out. I've made this pastry because, to be honest, do you want to see me make pastry again? I mean, so let's just get straight about this. So that's just going to go over there. So when I'm rolling it out, not grating it in, I'm rolling it out because you can get it a bit thinner, and for this I kind of wanted it a bit thinner. The one in the photograph I actually did slightly different pastry and I grated it in. So we just do little quarter turns and gently does it actually. We don't have to slam about the kitchen. We can just, so I'm just handling it gently. I'm sort of watching this here, this break. You know, it's nice and short. I haven't overworked it. We've got brown and, well, wholemeal flour, I should say, and plain flour in here. I don't know about where you are, but it's monstrously hot where I am. So we're wanting a circle, obviously, so it makes sense to roll a circle, and I know that sort of is an obvious thing, but I don't think it necessarily is. I don't really like that break there. I can also see across the surface that it's thicker here and thinner here, but don't roll to the edge of pastry. You know, don't do that to the edge. That's not the way it's done. You roll nearly to the edge. And of course I'm watching now how big to roll this, because I want this to be about the right size when it goes in. It's not quite right, is it? Because it's going to be there, but it's not going to really be there, and it's got that break in. So I'm just going to fix the break, actually, just squeeze them together and just squeeze them together. So I'm a bit happier with him now. So with some little offcuts of this, let me just think what I need to say. With the offcuts, make some little biscuits or make some little crumbs, and then, you know, just cook them roughly, and then you can crumb some up, and then you can decorate your plate if you were doing a super special sort of situation. Obviously for a photograph you like to do that sort of stuff. So another thing with pastry that do exist actually are pieces of wood, effectively, that go down the edge that your roller rolls on to make it completely even. That's another thing. If you're doing a lot of pastry and you're really going for like a perfect, you want it perfect, and that's absolutely fine. I've used that before when I'm cooking tarts for people that they're buying off me, but I haven't got them out for this. So I think that's okay now. I've got enough for the base and the sides. So you can. Oh, I just wanted to say this is a silicone, I think, plastic roller, and it is much better. It's longer. A lot of standard rolling pins come in, you know, at that size. This is much better, and it sort of sticks less than my grandma's, which was wood. I've had this for about 3 years. I didn't use it in the course, actually, thinking about it, but it was tucked away somewhere. But it is a better thing. So again, if you're going for, you know, lots of pastry stuff, or you want the right result, you know, that is a good bit of kit. So to put this in here, you can obviously gently roll that over and carry pastry around. That's obviously the professional way of doing it. The only thing I find with that is I find it more difficult to line it up, and then it sort of flops. Let's just show. So it sort of flops over like this, and then I feel like I've got a race against time before the pastry presses down. That's just me. So what I prefer to do, let's just check he's all right. What I prefer to do really, this is why I generally grate it in, because I just find it easier, is have my hands under it and sort of support the edges as it goes in, and then I just got a much better feedback, and just sort of as quickly as you can without being silly, just get it in and get the sides standing up rather than flopping over. It's nice and thin this actually, because to be honest, this bowl of pastry, well, I mean, I'm thinking now it's a bit big. I've got a bit too much left over. I don't quite know why. So I'm pressing him down and bearing in mind that even that super chilled one shrunk a bit. Just making sure there's plenty in. Pressing him down to the edge. There's an oven on next door. It's on a 170 to blind bake this with beans in. So that's that. Just check that you've pressed everything down here. You can see the pastry. So just be sort of generous with the topping of the pastry whilst also pressing it, because you want it nice and neat. And then to just push, you know, the edge down. Just roll over. I'm not one of these ones that will be cutting. So that's nice and neat there, and that's fine. So that needs pricking now. Just gently in the bottom. But this pastry's got some cinnamon in it, and it's got slightly higher fat content than a regular pastry, so that's got a kind of quite brown. The one in the photograph is browner, actually. Let's just put the beans in. And then yes, so you know what you'd want to do is you want this to be hot really already in the oven, and then you can just put your bits here, and then you've got some bits for tea. You can obviously save these. I'll check the recipe. It's made a little bit much that actually, but that's why I'm not getting the recipes out for this evening session. I'm just sort of using this as a bit of a check. It looks a bit much. Really, you should be having maybe that amount left to be making a biscuit. I mean, feel free to obviously to roll it up and cut it out and make hearts and, you know, flowers and all the rest. I won't. I'll just save the crumb like that. So that will go in to be blind baked. So good 8 minutes on a 170, 8 to 9 minutes. And let's just scroll through my mind what I wanted to say. So, and then out these come. And then back in for 8 or 9 minutes, and then by the time you've finished, you know it's done because it smells done. Actually, I think that's the best thing I can say. It smells done. This little base number pops himself up actually on the second time. So when you bring him out for the final time, if he is popping, allow him to cool with the beans in. So that doesn't dome, because you need all the space you can get, because obviously this is a cold filling, so you're not going to put him back in. It needs to be cooked when it's out, but it should be crispy. It might be a little bit soft on the bottom, but it should look done, it should look dry, and yeah, then it'll firm up actually when it's cold. So I'll just put that there. I'm actually just going to put that in the fridge so that I can successfully cook that after. Would never have thought of rolling over the pie case to cut the eggs. Yeah, it's a nice little, just put that there, see if that, hopefully that doesn't do anything to the live. Just putting the iPad down on the computer. Yeah, no, it's a nice, neat little trick that. It has a, I don't know about you, I sort of grew up with the you know, standing there and then round with a knife, and then I saw that years ago. I thought, oh, that's good. You know, but it was a proper professional. I've watched cookery programs for years, decades actually. So it's a proper professional thing. Right, so that's wiped down. My fingers are a bit better now as well. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to fill him. We're going to move on to the, what should we do first? The cream. So yes, so the cream. So my thinking with the cream, let's just be honest. I could have used this. I could have just thickened that lazily, add some spice, thickened it with any number of thickeners that are on the market, and then just use that as a cream. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something that's a bit more wholesome, because even that I have a problem with, namely the packaging, I think, mostly, and the miles. So I thought, well, okay, and I know this has got miles, but at least you make your milk. So this is a nice full-bodied milky thing that tastes nice. It's been thickened with almonds. It's got some sugar and some vanilla extract, some lemon zest and lemon juice in it, and just at the end we put a little bit of elderflower in, because elderflower works really nicely. She's looking across at everything to say. So the thing that I did is to put the lemon juice into here, and that means that it slightly curdles and goes a bit sort of different in terms of flavour, and that works well. So we're just going to gently heat that up. So I'm just going to switch over to this camera, and let's just get some heat on under there. So hopefully you might see that's a bit sort of lumpy. So that just means it's a bit curdled. So yes, lemon juice it's got in it, and zest, vanilla extract. We've got 15 grams. Where are they? Here they are. We've got 15 grams of oats, finely powdered oats. And we're going to add that along with a tablespoon of almonds, some sugar, and then this elderflower cordial at the end. I think I've just about got everything in that shot, which is quite nice. So we're just going to heat him up. What else do I need to say about this? Oh, well, you know, you could go for your life with this, really. I mean, I had to restrain myself. You know, you could do all sorts of things. You could, I'm just looking out at my ingredients. Let's get this heated up. You know, I'm trying to teach you to cook. I'm not trying to teach you to follow a recipe. So with this, you could put star anise in. You could get yourself the flavour Bible that I've got somewhere, and you could look up Damson's. Well, they'll be under plums, American, and it will say different things you can add. You know, you could add, I've got cinnamon going on in the pastry, so hazelnut would go well. You know, I mean, I have to stop, I do stop myself, actually. So feel free to add things. I think this recipe is a good base. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm just going to do that thickening. I'm just going to wait until he comes up. So I tried different things. Just checking you've not answered a question. Would never have thought of rolling. And the ready-made cream is ultra processed. Well, I don't. Yes, you're the expert. Actually, I've had this a while, and this Oatly stuff, and I mean, I think they've done well for animals because a lot of people eat this stuff. What has it got on it? Water, rapeseed oil, oats, 10%. You're paying a lot for water. Emulsifier, 4-7 something. Stabilisers, anthem gum and salt. So it's not too bad. But that's Oatly. I mean, you know. Not sure what to do with star anise. Oh, okay. Well, let's just have a look at him then. Let's just check out. Let's just turn him down a bit. Let's just turn that down, not forget about him. Let's put this on. So obviously the star anise is here. Nice thing, aren't they? There. I find them quite useless like this. Well, they're all right. I mean, they're all right if you, put them in with rhubarb or something. Stewed fruit, that's all right. But I have to say, right next door, I've got them ground. Because that's great. So just, you know, in my sage bullet, you've got something similar or the same. you know, get some ground. Most of the thing I've got on the spice wall there, I've got a ground version. So here's another example. So this is mace. This is lovely in curry. It's hard to see. Strange thing, mace. Actually, let me just stir this. And then obviously I've got some ground. Oops, there, ground in a tub. So it makes a lot of sense to get stuff ground, like cumin seeds. I have seeds, toasted seeds ground, and seeds ground. So I've got 4 sets of cumin. It makes things a lot easier. Dried lime. What was I going to use that for? Yeah, so obviously, you know, that's already processed. I mean, it sounds awful, that process, but, you know, it just means that you end up with, you know, just using more flavours if it's ready to go. Let me just show you this. So this is thickened nicely now. I'm just going to put a little bit of thickener in there. It's about a teaspoon of cornflour slurry. Just need to add a teaspoon of sugar now as well. So this is brown sugar, light brown sugar. I'm increasingly using, that doesn't work, I'm increasingly using date sugar, Kerry, to be honest. I don't know why, I just like the flavour of it. It's sort of less sugary, but I thought light brown sugar was fine here. And we just need a teaspoon of elderflower in. I made some elderflower, it's lovely, but I've gobbled it down now, so I need to be more organised next year. Okay, so that's the cream. It's easy. I put some lemon zest in before and some lemon juice to curdle it. So that's easy peasy and really nice and a bit different. And it sets, actually, let's just keep clean. It sets, where are they? Here they are. It sets nicely. Let's just go back to that view here. So it's lovely, and it's nice cold, so you need to put it somewhere to cool down. Or if you've got your tart shells ready, I mean, let it cool a little bit, to be honest. You don't want to put it in your tart shells like this because it'll just affect the tart shells. But yeah, if you've got your tart shells ready and that is actually about to set because it's so cool now, put it in your tart shells. So let me just show you. It's like I mean, that's another thing actually I meant to say. You could just use custard for this. I nearly did. I nearly went lazy and just thought, you know what? Custard, always made with oat milk. Custard with soy milk. Custard powder is just vile. But again, it's got that really processed thing. So cover the top with, as you would with any custard or anything you don't want the skin forming. We just go down like this, very informal. You could probably freeze him like that, to be honest, if you wanted to get ahead. So that's that. So that's very hot. And actually, to be honest, here's one I did earlier. So I just put him in a little pastry bag for my own sense. So I'm just going to squeeze him. I'm going to squeeze him into there when I've done my damsons. When I've got damson stuff on everything. So we've got damson stuff now to do. And yeah, as I said, but you probably couldn't hear me at that time. Damsons, let me just keep myself straight. Yes, damsons. I've got damsons here from lovely Kerry, who has grown something very special. Just checking you can see. No, that's it. So, Kerry, I took your tip, frozen damsons, and I took the pips out, the stones out. And then everything else went in here and has just sat and defrosted. So we've got some damsons. And the thing about your damsons is that there's no water coming out of them. So it would be so easy to make jam, actually. So I need to put my 3 tablespoons of water in. With this, my advice to you would be have it a little bit on the watery side. Protect yourself from jam. You don't want jam. Have I lit this? Yeah. I overcooked this so easily earlier in the week. I've made jam and it's lovely. Yeah, it's I've made jam. We're making a curd, and curd has got butter in it, sugar and fruit. But these damsons went. I mean, I'm not a jam maker. I freely admit that. So I just was happily cooking this fruit to get the stones out. This is before I used your tip, and I just suddenly had jam, like a. Yeah, that's, and you know, it hardly had any sugar in it. So the sugar content of these must be quite high, actually. Lovely. So we're bringing those up, and got some water in, and then we're going to do, so I can hear them, and 2 minutes. I'm just getting a sieve with a metal bowl out, and it just gets this, it stops being water and chopped up fruit and starts being something a bit different, and it takes about 2 minutes, I think. It goes glossier, it comes together. I don't know what's happening because I just don't know, but I really obviously need to find out because I'm just not a jam maker. Something must be happening, so pectin must be coming out or something like that. So we're going to sieve him soon, like basically now. And he's going to come over here, and he's going to go in here. Now, panic not, whole food eaters. I was getting myself a bit cross because I was like, oh no, I'm missing. What do I need? A metal spoon for this. I'm losing the skin. Because actually I took it out and I was like, oh, that's the best bit. But I didn't want skin bits floating. And I thought, oh, I'll put the skin in the bottom as a puree. And I thought, oh no, because you've kind of got a puree on the top and it's all gone a bit puree now. So that didn't work. But I have got, we'll talk shoe leather, we'll talk fruit leather. Yes, I knew I'd get some on my fingers. I just always do. Probably turned into a Damson this week, over the last few days. So that was annoying me, that the stuff left in the sieve was probably, in my mind, the best bit. So basically what you need to do is take this and spread it out. Let me just, what do I need to do now? I need to put this in here. That will be there. I need to show you this. Here. Silicone mat. Spread it. Spread that skin goo on the silicone mat with a knife. Good luck with that. No, it's fine. This is what I did one earlier. And so I spread it, basically. I took that and I just spread it out. And then I dehydrated it for about an hour and a half on an oven with 100 degrees with a little fork stuck in the thing to get the air out, the moisture out. So yeah, that works. I've had a little slice of that, as you can see. But that actually is a lovely thing. And if I was currently training, I would eat that. I'd probably incorporate it in a pud as well. So those silicone mats are another thing for you to buy. So that's in there, so that actually now, I'll do that leather. I like that leather. So keep myself clean because this can very quickly get very dirty. Right, okay, so this now that we've got the extract out, so a professional chef now would be yelling and saying, Julia, you have to put that through muslin. That has to be finer, to which I say, no, because I'm sorry, no, we need it whole food. So I'm just checking I've got everything in. Sugar, salt, zest. Yeah, so we're putting some zest in. We're putting a tablespoon of zest in. Let me get this heat on next, actually. We're putting a tablespoon of zest and a teaspoon of zest. Yeah, that's okay. No, don't use that, Julia. Don't. Tempting though it is. I'm sure you agree, Kerry, when you're working with red fruit, everything can get very red. Well, you're super neat now, of course. I've regressed in my ability to keep neat this week. So we just put a bit of sugar in. He's sounding a bit hot. He's sounding a bit hot, isn't he? Not very. Just going to put a little bit of water in there because he was just sounding too hot. Let's just show you that. So he's nice and glossy. Just put an extra bit of water in because it just went a bit hot, and then I put the sugar in, so that's not great. Let me just think. So I've got everything in now. Well, I was going to put lemon juice in, but it just went oh so tarty. And then we need to thicken. So let's get our corn flour into play, and let's just double check. Yes, okay. We are. We're going to put a teaspoon of corn flour slurry in, a little bit of water. Mix him up, but don't be frightened of not frightened, but worried about have I put too much thickener in or not. You've definitely got the overhead. Yeah, good. Okay, so you'll see it changes colour a bit. And it's just about getting it sort of set enough. So that on this amount of fruit, a teaspoon of corn flour is enough to get it, because I kind of wanted it to be a little bit looser than the cream, to be honest, and I wanted it to sort of ever so slightly ooze out of the tart when you cut into the tart. So I didn't have to do a separate anything. Now it should be said that this would go well with ice cream, actually. Really nice with ice cream. Right, that's it, that's good. So that is coming off, and we're just going to get a knife. We're going to put in some butter, because whether we like it or not, curd has got butter in it traditionally, and that's what makes it so lovely, because it's got that mouthfeel. Let's check you've got the right camera angle. Gosh, my head's really in there, isn't it? Need to just have a look. So that now looks like that might, to me, that's gone a bit liquidy. So I'm just going to adjust and get this right for you watching. Possibly put a little bit too much butter in there. I don't know, let's just thicken this up a little bit more. Got that. It goes a different colour actually. It goes a lighter colour. That's it. That's right. I hope you can see that actually. That's right now. As you're probably noticing, I'm not going, oh, a tablespoon of this, teaspoon of this. I've just decided not to get too knotted up because I've no auto cue. So just cook from the heart and cook from just knowing that that's right. And that's what I want people who kind of do cooking with me to be like. So that's right. So it's got that really nice kind of paler colour, so I'm glad about that, and that butter's in now. So let's just slightly neaten up the environment. Water seems to have gone through there. Well, let me just check for questions. I've made jam. Love the idea of Damson leather. What butter? Right, so all throughout this week I've used my own butter actually, Kerry. I've just run out of, let's see the time, I've just run out of it. I made a huge wagon load of it 2-3 weeks ago. So this one here, I just had to get this today for this. I just needed a tablespoon. So it's that Flora. I really can't hold anything under there. Let me just go back to that. Yeah, it's that Flora unsalted stuff. But that's why I think that just went a little bit watery, because I've been used to using my own on about that amount that I put in. So yeah, that's why I just then had to thicken that up. But that was good. That's good for me to do. Good for me to learn and good for you to see, just a quick adjustment. Right, so that now will go, to be honest, well, let's just be completely honest amongst friends. I've got a lot of this, loads of it. So I'm going to pop him in here because he's too hot to use. I'll probably freeze him. I might freeze him in some ice cubes actually. As ice cubes, I think that'd be nice. But this, yeah, I've obviously made a lot of this week, and also put some failed efforts in there too. So I've got plenty of it. And pick up that whisk I've thrown gently on the floor. So he can just go in there. He'll freeze. He'll be fine. So yeah, just on that leather. I think that's great. I was really excited about that. I didn't really believe that would work. I've used a dehydrator before for leather and it just didn't work. But I read a little bit more widely, and the trick of, well, wooden spoon in the oven door. And I thought, oh, that's good. So I didn't really like leaving the oven on for an hour with the door open. But I must admit, that is lovely, 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 lovely. So yes. I'm hoping that you'll try this recipe with all the other beautiful fruits that you're growing. There's loads more recipes in my head for this. I mean, this is just, it seems like, you know, the classic one to do, really. So here we go. We decide now that, to be honest, this is an individual tart. But if I made this, I would share this. If I had a lover, I would share this. I'm going to speed up in a minute. I'm very hot. I would share this with someone. So yeah, the tart in the middle doesn't look too good. The tart needs to be sort of on the edge and about 8 o'clock. What butter? I've made blackberry jam and end up with a skin. Yes, it will work for the leather. Oh, it's going to be great. So. Right, we're going to now, let me just double check, I got that one ready, loosen that up a bit, loosen this up a bit. So I like plating things, I think it's quite nice, and we've got the cream here, so I'm just going to pipe them in. She goes a bit quiet, because it's a bit easier to pipe. This is just an ultra rubbishy set, you know, nozzle set. I mean, it's so rubbish. I thought I had this idea I might get into doing icing, and I just ordered the wrong gear. So let's just see if I can smooth him off a bit. He's all right. Yeah, a hot spoon is always much better for anything like that. But hey, we're live. We need to finish. So now what? So yes, what you want to do is ideally this is a little bit warm. It might have been in the microwave, and you just need to think. Right, I'm going to get one go at this. And I'm just going to sweep my spoon, I hope you can see this, over. Because obviously you don't want to disturb. So just turn the tart and just hold the damson. So we've got him in, and yes, you know, I know it doesn't look perfectly smooth, but I just think that it doesn't matter because it's whole food. So if you've got, so let me see, I've made some black, right. Sorry, I'm trying to finish. So I've got some crumbs here, and I did put an arc of crumbs down, so I'm just going to show you how to do it. So my thought process was to echo the line of the tart. You don't need very much, and to be honest, I went to the bother of a slightly different colour. So there's a bit of fiddling around, but I wanted it to be, I think, whole food appropriate, which is to be a little bit not perfect. That's okay. I'm not going to fiddle with my paintbrush now. And then, of course, a little bit of, what is that? What is that? Can't see. There's something. Ah, it's there. I'm so sorry. So yes, we can put a flower. It's got to be yellow. And then if you do have a little bit of mint, throw him down, but don't work too hard on him. So I think that's about right. I've done that backwards, if you know what I mean. That's it. We're done. So we've got a very easy tart there. All of that can be made in advance and thrown into the freezer and brought out. You know, you can make your tart shells. You can add different spices, and that's it. And then that would sit really happily in the fridge for a day. You know, if you were serving it for a dinner party. So that's it. And I think a little blob of ice cream would be perfect. I wouldn't put this on it. Some people would, but no, a little blob of ice cream just there would be lovely. But yeah, and that would be really nice to share between two, I think. This is going to be lovely. Thank you. Yes, definitely to share. I think that's a perfect sharing dessert, to be honest. And I think if you did, and I didn't style it with ice cream because I didn't have any in, but I just think it's the perfect thing to just put a blob here. And you're going to just get the texture of it. But try that first, or try the cream first, and see how, because you know that an ice cream could have a slightly artificial flavour compared with the wholesome of that. And so maybe just make the cream and taste it, and it tastes a bit sort of strange out of context, but you know, I can think of all sorts of ideas to use it. Bread and butter pudding, it would be great in there, but you know, you try that first and then develop it. So there we go. It's been a good one, and thanks for the Damsons, absolutely amazing. I hope I've answered questions as I've as I've gone through. Sorry, it's gone a bit over. Is there any? Have you got any questions, Kerry? Oh, probably not. No. Right. Lovely. Okay. Oh, she's got questions. No cues. Okay, good. All right. Well, lovely. Thanks again for the Damsons. Have a lovely time making this. Let me know how you get on. And if you want to just think about slight adjustments for different fruits, let me know. Yeah. You'd need to just let me know. You've got blackberries and blackcurrants. Blackberries, I'd have to think about. I think they may need a very fine sieve actually. Blackcurrants, they probably just go straight through the same recipe. All right, but anyway, thanks very much and take care. And yeah, next week. Bye now.